All right, before you get all mad, the thumbnail is clickbait. All right. People like I don't know. People making so much assumptions about like everything I do recently that I got to make sure that's very clear. Me having like a face palm in the thumbnail is for jokes or whatever. So yo, there guys, it's your boy SonTj, and I'm here to review One Punch Man 168. And random side note, but I've been listening to TikTok recently, and I got that FREE I got that one hook stuck in my head like nonstop. Sorry, this is a One Punch Man review. So this is the conclusion of Awakening Garou versus Saitama, and I do have some criticisms, but I've loved like the fight between Saitama and Garou blows Saitama versus Boros out the water. It is incredible. The heights this manga has reached in terms of art, consistency. I think it's surpassed the webcomic. I think it's like really incredible. Like the art, Murata is a god, the best artist working right now in manga. Right now, I think it's incredible. As we can see, we see Saitama is able to copy it's the names with G's. I've been messing up with my recent reviews. If it starts with a G, I'm going to either say Genos, Garou, whatever. But yeah, Saitama is able to copy Garou's fighting style, and just pretty much we get to the point that Garou knows that he's going to lose. Which, even though I've been cracking my jokes and memeing a bit, we all knew that Saitama was going to win this because Saitama has to eventually fight God. But this chapter pretty much explains how Saitama's powers work, because this manga uses the word limitless like it's freaking paper. like not freaking paper, like it's freaking crack, man. Like it uses this nonstop. Garou says he'll copy something limitlessly, the whole limit breaker thing. In terms of like power scaling, like versus matchup, a limitless being is literally someone who just like not even put any effort, it just wipes it away. That is like the true meaning of limitless. But in returning like in limitless, just natural storytelling is like my ability to become stronger is limitless. You know, a character can continue to become stronger, which again, depending on how the writer feels like writing it, that's how it be. But the manga itself is trying to explain how Saitama powers work. While Garou's, trying to keep up and he's copying Saitama's abilities, we see a graph and it shows that Saitama and Garou are like on an even playing field. It turns not really even, but Saitama is like has a slight edge. But eventually, Saitama is like surpassing him, kind of like Broly from DBS Broly, where like Saitama and Garou both grow tremendously when they're fighting someone near their power and they're able to push themselves. But Saitama at this point in their fight has way surpassed Garou's growth rate, which I think is explaining the whole limit breaker thing and things like that. It's like, it's not saying that Saitama is like this like gag one-shotting thing, whatever. When he fights someone around his level, he can surpass it. So, because there's been a lot of debate, and I made a TikTok, and now people are saying like, oh my God, Saitama one-shotted Garou, you're an idiot. But I think, because if it was a gag, they wouldn't have to explain none of this. But like Murata and One are trying their best to explain how this stuff works. So when Saitama said that he can finally fight someone that can stay up, even though he's only using one hand because he's protecting Genos' core, because also Genos did die. Like this manga chapter really confirmed that Genos did die. All this stuff happened, and I'll talk about some of my criticisms with that later. But yeah, I think Saitama really did go all out. Well, without. It's so stupid because this guy is jumping around, destroying like the planet and doing like serious punches left and right, but it's only with one hand. And people are gonna act like this man did not use the rest of his body and it's just one hand on the screen. No, he used all his body except the hand holding Genos. But regardless, he did all those crazy stuff, and I think he believes that he was using his full power at that time. But naturally, as the fight went on, his full power went from this to this to this and higher, and as you can see later on, Saitama was able to catch Garou's punch like it's nothing. Like, because every time Garou copies abilities, it went from like Saitama not caring about it to like taking a punch to the face, different things like that. So that's how I think Saitama's powers were. At least that this chapter is confirming, is that Saitama, when he fights someone around his level, it helps him grow, and when he uses his emotions and when he gets serious and when he gets mad, it naturally progresses his power even higher. So Garou did push Saitama to use, 80, I don't know how much percent of his power, but naturally that 80% became like a 20% after the fight went going. So his growth potential is crazy. It's literally like Broly, we went from like base Vegeta level to fighting like Super Saiyan Blue Gogeta. Pretty crazy stuff there. And Saitama does another feat, which he sneezes, and like he kind of like destroys the surface of Jupiter, which kind of reminds me of Silver Age Superman. Well, Silver Age Superman was a lot more impressive because I think he like destroyed like either a solar system or a galaxy with a sneeze, which was pretty incredible. But yeah, it's called Serious Sneeze. Pretty cool stuff here. And then Garo's trying his best to teleport himself back to Earth, trying to leave Saitama behind, and we get a funny scene where where we get confirmation how Saitama would have survived. Because I remember I made a video a long time ago, like, did Saitama get lucky because he landed on the moon when Boros smacked him to the sky? Because it's very iffy with this, but Saitama can't fly, even though this man be doing stuff where it pretty much looks like he can fly. And so pretty much he does like a serious fart or whatever, and he's able to fly and catch up to Garou. And then he punches Garou back to Earth, and then we see that Garou is finally released from the influence of God, and we get more of just a more emotional scene of Saitama talking to Garou and seeing that kid he was trying to protect is just dead. Like and that's the thing that I have to talk about in this chapter, because listen, I don't go to One Punch Man for the most Omega stories. I go to One Punch Man for hype-ass art, from incredible feats. I like the side characters, and I like some character progression. But like, you know, it's like, again, some battle manga, I look at it as battle manga. I don't look at it for overall storytelling there. But we get some very like iffy stuff in terms of how things are going on. And granted, there's some reasonable explanations. I'm just saying, for me personally, for this chapter, it kind of felt a little bit weird. And we get into this whole time travel stuff. And it's pretty much saying that this is Garou's ultimate technique in terms of martial arts. And he's like sacrificing his energy and like giving Saitama like the influence of God, because he knows that Saitama won't be overwhelmed by it. And God is trying to take the power back while it's going down. Which... I let a lot of BS slide with a lot of mangas. Dragon Ball has plenty of BS. Naruto, Bleach, all shonens, all fiction has plenty of BS. But something about this one, it felt weird to me because, like, you know, this Garou, he's dead, but we're getting like a different Garou in an alternate timeline. And then Genos really did die, but, you know, he's back now. Don't get me wrong, we all knew somehow, some way that something crazy was going to happen to bring everyone back. It just kind of feels like this whole fight was kind of made into like an alternate timeline thing to give Murata more of an excuse to do some crazy feats. Which again, I'm not really mad at it, but it does really feel like the time travel stuff was kind of contrived, because even after Saitama, you know, goes back in time and they explain all that type of stuff, again, they're trying their best to explain all this stuff in like scientific ways, which I don't know if that any of that stuff makes sense, but pretty much Garou tells them to stop the ominous future. And we see that Saitama fuses with his past self. It's just, that's what I mean by it. I'm not really mad at it happening. It's just the portrayal of it looks weird. Like, does Saitama become double stronger? Because, and also the thing that adds on to the whole Saitama has like an exceptional growth rate where if he fights someone weaker than him, he can surpass them, is that we get, because there was information that I remember one of my subs told me that Saitama one-shotted like a past version of himself or something. So Saitama's thing is that he's not like a gag, but he can become so much stronger over time, pretty much. So his not his limitations, his growth rate is pretty much limitless. He's literally like a Saiyan. He really is like a Saiyan in this verse. But we go back to where Garou did the whole nuclear fission attack, and he sent Saitama away. And Saitama knocks out the past Garou before he copies Serious Saitama and gets all his power-ups. And he pretty much beats the older, the younger Garou. And he like kind of one-shots him there. Well, it says like, it took not one punch, but 0 punches to finish the battle. It was still a punch. I don't know. It's kind of weird there. But yeah, we see everyone's alive. And this punch was able to knock off this new timeline Garou's abilities. Which again is just kind of like, okay. And then they fuse together, and I don't know if any of the character progression for Saitama sticks. That's also another problem with me. It's like, is the character progression for Garou just lost to that alternate timeline Garou, and the character progression for Saitama is also lost? But yeah, he's holding Genos' core from the alternate timeline, and you know. and then Genos rushes in. So it also might be a power up for Genos because they love to power up Genos in every arc. So you might have 2 cores now, giving them double the power. And that's the end of the chapter. Again, I've loved every chapter so far. I think each chapter, like the past 3 chapters, have been 10 out of 10s. I just think for this one, they try to put so much logic into things that are kind of illogical that it kind of lost me a little bit. Like the whole like cells and how the time travel works and all that type of stuff. Again, I just think this is a pure gag. They want to explain shit, but they want to explain all this to make it seem reasonable. I think the serious knees was a pretty cool feat. Reminds me of like Silver Age Superman. Overall, again, I think it's really cool, man. I just think this one didn't make me as hype as all the other ones. But again, I think that was the whole point, was that Murata wanted to do kind of like a different take on this fight, make it a lot more explosive. And also, I still think that Saitama lost his mind when he saw Genos die, because the dude was literally going to destroy everything, and Blast took them away, and then he remembered, oh right, I'm not supposed to kill this guy. But yeah, I'm glad that Genos is alive. He's like literally my top 3 favorite character in One Punch Man. And I guess Garou is gonna pretty much lose his powers. I don't know what's happening with him. We'll see in the next chapter. And yeah, Garou is defeated. And the punch was abnormally powered up on a moon of Jupiter or whatever. And also, I think they showed like the little circle in the universe. Kind of like that's where the punch was when it took out the stars. I still don't know what happened to those stars in the last chapter, because they looked like it was completely gone. But then when they was rushing back to planet Earth, you can see all those stars still there. Maybe it's just a different part. Who knows? But yeah, I still like the chapter. Still love One Punch Man. If you want me to do more reviews of One Punch Man later on, please hit the like button, subscribe, and share. I think this is probably a double upload day, because I already know I had a short already scheduled earlier that should be coming out. It's about like Cell Max. And I still got to edit my video. My next video coming up this Saturday is Ultra Instinct Goku versus Ultra Ego Vegeta, the finale of the Granola arc. Even though it's not the finale, but it's pretty much the defeat of Gas. So we'll see how that goes there. And I don't think Goku or Vegeta are getting another power-up at this point. So if you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, subscribe, and share. Thank you for all the love and support. Forgive me, I look a little bit more threatening because of my do-rag, because I'm recording this at 3:52 a.m. because I usually go to the gym at 5 a.m. And if you're still watching this video, man, say serious laugh. Serious laugh, man. So yeah, SonTj, peace. Love you all.